Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Earlier today, the information about the 2026 series circuit was revealed. We will be focusing on the video game side of things for this video specifically. And basically, this is pretty much my first time looking at this. I've heard a few ramblings, but I really wanted to kind of go through it with you guys, have this sort of discussion style video. So we're gonna take our way, walk right through this information here and break it down, give you my thoughts as we go. And of course, let me know how you guys feel down below. Love to have a discussion on some of these changes with you guys in the comments section. So without further ado, let's start right into it. We're going to start with pretty much the base of the article. Nothing new at the top here, guys. This is just like the overview stuff. The rating zones and all that's pretty much all going to be the same. I will get to the World Champions qualification. Once again, this is just the overview of championship points. If you guys do want to follow along, I will leave links to everywhere I go in this video down below for you guys. If I forget, please yell at me in the comments because I have a bad habit of doing that. But let me know. Everything should be down there. If it's not, feel free to yell at me. Once again, same exact thing as last year. You got the championship points. We have our circuit. They've got a little bit of a definition of the best finish limits. Nothing really too crazy. The big note here is that Unite no longer uses the championship point system. Obviously not what the video is about, but I think that's really the only major change in this first little paragraph there, and doesn't really affect the video game side of things. So rating zones remain effectively the same. I haven't really seen too many changes there. World Championship qualification, the one major change we have here, especially on the video game side of things, is I think just Masters is now 80 instead of 75. So I guess, yippee, I guess there's 5 more slots. I don't know. It's weird. I have issues with the top 75 or top 80 in this case qualification system. I think it's great. I do enjoy the challenge. But I think the problem that arises is there's really no opportunity to take a break because it feels like your ability to qualify is out of your hands and really specifically in the hands of how many other competitors there are going to be that are also chasing their invite, right? So take, for example, this past season, I was at, I think, 990 going into the North American International Championships. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, this really should be safe, right? It just doesn't. But it wasn't safe. Like, it was safe. It ended up being good. But, like, I really should be happy with this, and I should be safe, and I should not have to panic going into my next event. However, I'm still sitting there going, well, if the doomsday scenario happens and everybody below me does incredibly well, I'm missing my invite. And there's a lot of other issues with this as well. Obviously, that's from somebody like that was actually close enough to be in that scenario, but this is also very, very restricting, especially for newer players that may not have the time commitment to get to as many events. So still don't love the top X qualification system. It just feels like it's a little too far out of my control or the player's control, and a little bit more reliant on what's going on with the players around them. However, you can still have some very good runs. You can go win a regional. That still gets the auto invite. I believe the top 4 at Internats also gets the auto invite as well. So you're still going to have to do well at the events you choose to go to. But overall, not a huge fan of it. But I guess they gave us 5 more slots this year, so that's cool. I don't know. Once again, this is basically describing what I was just talking about with the automatic invites. Nothing new there. Okay, what do we got here? This is apparently what's new in 2026. Championship series events. Competitors must qualify to earn invitation, earning championship points, placing highly. Okay, nothing new there. They sell out quickly. I do like that note, letting everybody know that they may sell out quickly, because I don't think we've actually had information like that in the past, just like flat out. I do enjoy the fact that now they're letting, hey, you know what, these fill up quickly, so make sure you register when it drops, pretty much, which is cool. I'd like to see some more drops for regionals in like waves, so that we get different registration times, because sometimes for certain regionals you're stuck at work. Maybe if they opened waves in like hour increments every, like, that one night, instead of just being that one time zone or that one spot, if they open it up to like you have that one time slot, and then similar what they do for like the Internats, how they have like the 2 or 3 time slots to register. I would like to see that for regionals as well, given how fast they are selling out of these regionals. I think that would be a cool way to limit at least some of the, or to what's the word I'm looking for, to retaliate against. I don't have the right word, but to counteract. There we go. To counteract some of the speed at which these regionals are filling up nowadays. We can talk about the league challenges and league cups later. It's effectively the same. The only real change that we have here is the kickers. So they modified it basically in order to get points for a top 8. In order to get points for earning top 8 at one of the events, you need to change the amount of the number of people that need to attend the event has changed. Other than that, there's some other small variations, but the point payouts appear to be exactly the same as they were this season. So we're not going to get into that right now. I'm not going to worry about the Unite right now. Regional events. They do have a couple regional events here, so we are going to quickly take a look over here. I already had that tab open. Don't know why I did it this way, but anyways, let's get to where I want to go. Yeah, so they do have some of the events listed. Once again, this page will all be linked for you guys. Really quickly, not all of them have been put out yet. Specifically, you're looking at Frankfurt, Monterey, Pittsburgh as well as probably the first North American one in September there. Milwaukee going earlier this time around. Last time we had Milwaukee in May. Now it's going to be in October. So that's an interesting little change for that region. Other than that, guys, I'll let you go through this. There's not a lot to talk about. This is just really just the upcoming events. One thing that I do want to point out is if you go to Audie's Twitter, which is CK49, part of Tub Takes. In the promo video that they released, they had this kind of graph that you guys can see on the screen here, and they didn't have the names of these cities up. They just kind of highlighted you see the pillars of light sort of thing. So Audie went in and basically said, hey, this kind of lines up with these regionals. So this is unofficial, but this is probably looking similar or similar areas to where the regionals are. So very good work from Audie there. Very intrigued to see if these end up being accurate. I do like seeing Toronto and Vancouver as a Canadian player myself. So, that'll be nice. Hopefully those end up being 100% accurate because they technically are not confirmed. But I'd imagine with these pillars of light, it's looking pretty legit. That is just one thing I wanted to touch upon pretty quickly here. Okay, where were we? This is because I clicked the wrong link. All right, there we go. That was 2 seconds for you guys. For some reason, it took me a little longer than I wanted to. But I did find the correct button. And we got the league challenges and league cups. They are starting back up for the video game side of things in September, which is definitely a change from what we had this season. This season, they decided to let us start in, I believe it was July, just like the TCG and the Go players started. And as you can see, once again, they are going to do that again for TCG and Go. However, the video game players are starting on September 1st. And there's a few hints at what this might mean. This could be something to do with maybe champions. Maybe it could be something to do with just wanting to give VGC players a break. But I think it's more likely to do something along the lines of champions. Maybe they're going to have some sort of summer release or something along those lines. That's all speculation at this point, though. The only thing we know for sure is the series is starting on September 1st. They also announced the way they did the announcement video. It said, prepare for a mega season, and mega was in all caps. So interesting to note that maybe we may get some sort of mega evolution back for next season, as well as potential new game. Obviously, Champions has to come out at some point. I would imagine that is going to be the game we're switching over to, depending on how they decide to format that. But it's weird because we really haven't heard anything about it outside of that initial release. So very curious to see as to what's going to happen moving forward there. But just the way they capitalized mega, there's no other reason for them to do that unless they were hinting at something along those lines. So I could be very wrong, but I have a funny feeling that that's going to end up being relatively accurate. And this is probably one of the bigger changes that they've made in this video or on the news today. And that's going to be, they are adjusting the Swiss tournament rounds. And I think this is a fantastic change for the circuit. So basically, we have, last year they introduced, they had the whole day one, it was 8 rounds, and you'd come back and you'd play either 3, 4, 5 rounds, whatever it was, based on attendance at the regional. And basically now that they're saying this year, they're saying that wasn't enough. So they're going to say now that it's going to be 8 rounds of day 1 Swiss, and they're going to add an extra round to day 2. So if we would have had enough players last season for 8 rounds of day 1 and 3 rounds of day 2, an event of the same attendance this season we'll have one extra round on day 2. So if it was 8 rounds and 3, it'll now be 8 rounds and 4 on to day 2 instead of 8 rounds and 3. Instead of 8 rounds on day 1 and 3 on day 2, it'll be 8 rounds on day 1 and 4 rounds on day 2, and so long and so forth. So if it was like 2 rounds on day 2, it'll now be 3. Basically just adding an extra round. And there's a few good things about this. One, it just solidifies the players at the top, right? There was a lot of the times, we saw a lot of the top players complaining, they'd go like 12-0 and then lose in the first round of cut, and they're getting top 32, which just doesn't feel right. So from a top player's perspective, I think that's going to be a very good change moving forward. A little bit more likely for them to get that top 16 and rewarding the better Swiss run as well, not really relying all on the end of the tournament. You also have, I think the big thing here is going to be for tiebreakers. And I think what the big thing is for tiebreakers is going to be as you go down in the tier list. That extra round is going to allow for more deviation between competitors. So take, for example, the European International Championships last year. I think it's the best example I can give, is we had 27-person cut, meaning from 28 to 32, all those players finished 9-3. From 33 to 64, all those players also finished 9-3. And then I believe it was from 65 all the way down to 77, those players also finished 9-3. So that entire bracket of standings, so that ends up being like from 28 to like 77 or 78, all those players had the same record and were 100% reliant on the tiebreakers. And when you have somebody going 9-3 and getting 72nd, and somebody going 9-3 getting top 32 and getting into money because it was an international, that becomes a problem. And obviously now this will trickle down as well to the lower brackets too, which I think is very, very valuable. And you're just going to get less of that. Because we're playing an extra round, there'll be less players with the same record at the higher tables. And I think it pretty much, and when I say the higher tables, guys, I'm talking like top 256 and up, right? Obviously, you're still going to be just playing that extra round is going to allow for more separation and being less reliant on the tiebreakers. So I think that's definitely a cool change. One thing I don't like, and I would have to run the exact math on this. I really don't want to do the math right now, but I am worried because they have said that they are taking the asymmetrical top cut from top 8, which went top 8. If you have the same record as the person in 8th, everybody that had that same record would make it all the way down to 32. They're changing this to top 16. Now, I think this is fine 90% of the time. Because of the extra round of Swiss, once again, I don't think it's really going to go past 16 all that much. However, unless my quick math is wrong here, guys, I do believe there are scenarios where we're at the right at the later end of the attendance bracket, so right before we would have switched to having an additional round. So if, let's just say there's an additional round after you hit 1,000 players. This is not actually a number, but if there's an additional round after you hit 1,000 players, let's just say, this may become a problem when we're at 999 players because we didn't hit enough for that extra round, but because we have so many players, there is a chance that somebody going 10-2 or 11-2 at a regional could end up getting 17th. And because of the way they're going to hard cut it at top 16 now for top cut, it's going to be a little annoying. Now, these scenarios are very, very rare, I would imagine. However, it technically could occur, and I'd have to run the math to figure out where these brackets and where these issues are going to arise. And maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe my math is wrong, but I do think that is a possibility now, which I think was a lot less likely with the top 32 cutoff. However, maybe the extra round works in ways that my brain can't comprehend. So hopefully that doesn't become a problem. But overall, I think this is a very, very strong change moving forward. Yes, the championship point table adjustments. This is also another big one. The Grand Challenges and Global Challenges, these are those online tournaments where you get to do the 15 battles a day that award championship points. These are now going to be broken down by rating zone. And that is absolutely massive, in my opinion. There's a lot of points to be had from these Grand Challenges and Global Challenges. And basically being able to, basically what they're saying is if you get top 64 overall, but let's just say you're from North America and everybody above you is from the Latin America European rating zone, all of a sudden, you know, go from 64th, and you actually win that event in your rating zone, right? So basically, it would only count people in your rating zone. So this is definitely a good change. More points are going to be given out from this as a result, because, you know, you're not going to just have one winner of the grand or global challenges. Now you're going to have basically a winner in every rating zone and a second place in every rating zone. So more points are going to be put out this way. So I think it's a good change, and I also think it could become a little bit problematic just because there's so many more points getting put out from this. However, that's up in the air. I think it's an overall good change. So curious to see how that develops. I already talked about the kickers earlier with the league challenges being adjusted based on attendance. And the more championship points between 9th and 64th, I have not found the breakdown for this yet. I know it was released, but I haven't found it. If I find it, I'll throw it on the screen as a picture right now. But at the time of recording, I haven't found this. I believe it was, I think top 64 is going up to 120 instead of the 100 that it was, or something like that. Either way, this is also another very good change. If I find a breakdown, guys, I'll throw it up on the screen for you. But either way, very good change. And I think that's pretty much it. Once again, we are going to get the Ace Trainer Rewards program. So once again, anybody who earns 200 points is going to get that, I believe it's that the trainer's card, which we really haven't seen come into play yet, because I don't know even what it is for this season. I know it's, once again, it's a TCG card pretty much, but like a commemorative card with an Ace Trainer on it. I don't know. Either way, it's here. Looks like it's going to be returning as well, just to reward, just you know, for coming out and trying. I think it's a cool little reward. I wouldn't put too much stock in it, but it's definitely a fun little reward and something to work towards if it is something, you know, that's something you're looking for. Pokemon Unite. I think that pretty much it. The schedule, once again, guys, this link's here. I'll let you guys look at the schedule yourself. Championship dates, once again, I'll let you let you guys look at all that. But I think that's pretty much it for us. And I do just want to, you know, wish everybody luck in the 2026 season. I'm looking forward to it. I think there's going to be a lot of interesting changes. I'm curious to see if Megas return. I'm not going to do a quick summary. I know Victory Road put a tweet out with a very good summary of all this stuff. So if you made it to the end of the video and you're looking for a quick recap, I'll leave the Victory Road link down below. That's pretty much a summary of everything I just said. Probably could have just pinned that at the first part of the video, but then no one would have watched the video. So what's the point of that? But if you guys are still here, I really do appreciate it. And if you do enjoy this type of content, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. And of course, I really do appreciate it. But with that, I'm going to get on out of here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in a future video.